The air inside the main conference hall was thick with anticipation, punctuated only by the soft hum of servers quietly processing the vast streams of data extracted from Cradle's ancient archives. Around the central holotable, the core members of the expedition gathered, their faces illuminated by the pale blue light of the three-dimensional projections swirling above. Each image, each coded fragment of history, demanded careful scrutiny, not just for scientific accuracy, but for the profound ethical implications it carried. Dr. Alara Miles stood near the projection, her fingers lightly brushing the glowing surface as she navigated through layers of reconstructed memories, ancient philosophies, and genetic blueprints. The sheer scale of what they had uncovered was staggering. Humanity's forgotten cradle, a civilization whose reach extended beyond the stars and whose legacy had been deliberately erased to protect future generations from repeating cataclysmic errors. "We can't simply release this information without context," Ilara began, her voice steady but imbued with the gravity of their responsibility. "The world isn't ready for the truth about where we come from, about the engineered nature of our evolution, or the warnings embedded in these records." Captain Jonas Vieira nodded, his expression one of resolve tempered by caution. "Agreed. The political and social ramifications could be profound. We must prepare a framework for disclosure that emphasizes education, ethical reflection, and gradual integration." Amina Solis, the expedition's ethicist, leaned forward, folding her hands thoughtfully. "We face a dual challenge, honoring the legacy of Cradle while safeguarding humanity's current identity. This knowledge could either unite humanity in a shared origin or fracture it under the weight of its implications." Dr. Ryo Tanaka, who had spent long hours decoding genetic sequences that linked modern humans to their ancient ancestors, added quietly, "And there's the danger of misuse. Technologies derived from this archive could revolutionize medicine and biology, but without oversight, they could also lead to new forms of inequality or conflict." The discussion moved from the technical to the philosophical, weaving through questions of identity, stewardship, and the future. The team debated the merits of transparency versus protection, the risks of awakening dormant fears, and the hope of inspiring a new era of human evolution informed by the wisdom of the past. As the sun dipped below the horizon outside the base, casting long shadows across the alien landscape, Ilara found herself drawn away from the meeting. She walked to the edge of the camp, where the ancient ruins stood silent and imposing against the sky painted in hues of violet and gold. The twin suns, symbolic of Cradle's unique celestial dance, bathed the stones in a warm, almost reverential light. She closed her eyes, feeling the subtle pulse of the planet beneath her feet. It was as if Cradle itself was breathing, alive with memories waiting to be honored. In that moment, Ilara understood that their mission was not only scientific, but deeply spiritual, a bridge between what was lost and what could be reclaimed. Returning to the conference hall, Ilara proposed a plan, a comprehensive report combining scientific data, ethical guidelines, and cultural context, to be delivered first to a trusted coalition of global leaders and scholars. This coalition would oversee the phased release of information, ensuring education and preparation preceded public revelation. The team agreed, each member contributing their expertise to shape the document. Late into the night, they worked tirelessly, refining language, anticipating questions, and preparing responses to potential controversies. Tensions occasionally flared. Some members pushed for immediate disclosure, driven by a fervent belief in transparency and the democratization of knowledge. Others implored caution, fearing the destabilization of societies still grappling with their own divisions. Through it all, Amina's steady mediation preserved unity, reminding them of their shared purpose. Finally, the moment arrived to upload the report to the ship's central database, where it would be transmitted securely back to Earth. As the data flowed into the network, a subtle vibration coursed through the ground, resonating with the planet's biosignature. It was a silent acknowledgement, a communion between human endeavor and Cradle's enduring spirit. In the following days, as the team prepared for their departure, they reflected on the legacy they were leaving behind. The legacy not just of discovery, but of responsibility, humility, and hope. The echoes of Cradle would ripple through human history, challenging old narratives and inspiring new ones. Lyra stood once more at the ruins, the stars beginning to pierce the twilight. "We're not just explorers," she whispered to the wind. "We're caretakers of a story that belongs to all of us." And with that, the expedition set its sights on home, carrying the weight of knowledge and the promise of a future forever changed by the truths they had uncovered. The report's reception on Earth would be the next chapter of this unfolding saga, chapter filled with unknowns, challenges, and extraordinary possibilities. But for now, the team on Cradle had done what they came to do. They had found the legacy and chosen to honor it with the wisdom it deserved. The journey was far from over. The last light of Cradle's twin suns bathed the plains in a warm, crimson glow, casting elongated shadows of the expedition team as they moved with measured steps toward the waiting shuttle. The air was thick with the scent of alien flora, mingled with the sterile metallic odor emanating from the ship's hull. Each footfall stirred the dry dust that had settled over months of painstaking work, a silent testament to their time spent uncovering secrets buried deep beneath this enigmatic world. Dr. Leela Morgan paused for a moment, her gaze lingering on the jagged silhouette of the ancient ruins that had first drawn them here. The stones, weathered and worn, held stories etched in their every crack, stories of a civilization both advanced and tragic, whose memory had been almost completely erased by the tides of time and cosmic fate. She swallowed hard, feeling the weight of those discoveries press upon her chest like a physical force. "We came looking for answers," she whispered, "and found more questions than we dared imagine." Beside her, Captain Elias Vaughan maintained his calm exterior, though his eyes betrayed the turmoil within. His role as leader had demanded strength and decisiveness, but in this moment, even he wrestled with the enormity of what they were leaving behind. The knowledge they carried was not just scientific data or ancient artifacts. It was a paradigm shift that could redefine humanity's very understanding of itself. Could the world bear such revelations without fracturing? Mara Ellison adjusted her headset nervously, the usual spark of energy in her eyes dimmed by the gravity of the farewell. Communication lines were already live, transmitting final reports back to Earth. She wondered how many would listen with open minds, how many would seek to exploit or deny the truth. The silence around her felt oppressive, broken only by the distant hum of the shuttle's engines warming up. In the command center, Dr. Amir Chen meticulously archived genetic sequences, his fingers dancing across the datapad with practiced ease. Yet beneath his scientific focus lay a deep, personal conflict. The genetic codes they'd uncovered hinted at a lineage far more complex and intertwined than previously imagined. The implications for human evolution, for identity, were staggering. What did it mean to be human when the roots stretched beyond Earth's soil? Jock's Harrow, covered in dust and sweat, moved with mechanical precision as he dismantled equipment, the physical labor grounding him amidst the swirling emotions. He cast a final glance at the subterranean entrance they'd sealed, the gateway to hidden realms and forgotten memories. "We're closing a door," he muttered, but the echoes will keep ringing. As the team boarded the shuttle, the low murmur of voices blended with unspoken farewells and lingering glances. The interior was cramped but familiar, walls lined with screens displaying data streams and external views. The hatch sealed with a definitive hiss, severing their last physical connection to Cradle. The launch was smooth, the engines roaring softly as the craft lifted from the scarlet plains. From the windows, the sprawling alien landscape stretched out a tapestry of ancient cities, verdant biomes, and enigmatic ruins bathed in the fading light. The planet's surface seemed to pulse subtly, as if acknowledging their departure with a silent farewell. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with reflection. Dr. Morgan's eyes welled with tears she refused to shed openly. "We carry more than data," she said quietly to Elias, who nodded in solemn agreement. "We carry a responsibility to honor the past, to protect the future." The conversation drifted to the unknown challenges awaiting them back on Earth. How would humanity receive their revelations? Would fear or greed prevail over understanding? The answers remained elusive, but the team knew their journey was far from over. As Cradle receded into the void, a new chapter beckoned, one where memory, identity, and hope intertwined in an uncertain dance. The echoes of the Cradle would endure, reverberating through time and space, inspiring generations yet unborn to seek their origins and embrace their destiny. The shuttle's course set toward home. The final image of the alien world lingered, a silent promise that the story of humanity's true beginnings was only just beginning to unfold. The descent from the Starliner was met with a flood of emotions: relief, anticipation, and an undeniable sense of history in the making. Dr. Maya Chen adjusted the strap of her satchel as she stepped onto Earth's familiar soil, the hum of the airport's machinery blending with the low murmur of waiting journalists and officials. Cameras flashed, capturing the faces of the expedition team that had unlocked the secrets of humanity's true birthplace. It wasn't just a triumphant homecoming. It was the beginning of a new era. The Cradle's echoes whispered through every conversation, every headline, every scientific symposium that followed. In lecture halls across continents, Maya found herself recounting the story of the ancient civilization, her voice steady but charged with passion. The packed auditorium in New York was no exception, hundreds of eyes fixed on her as she described the discovery of the underground archives, the holographic histories that had rewritten textbooks overnight. These were not mere ruins, Maya told the crowd, but a repository of our collective memory, a testament to humanity's origins and the post-human evolution that shaped us. In the corridors of power, Commander Elias Rourke met with government official Marissa Kane. The sterile light of the government chamber contrasted sharply with the vibrant, living history they had uncovered. "The knowledge we bring back could transform everything," Elias said, his voice measured but urgent. "But it's a double-edged sword. We must tread carefully." Marissa's steely gaze met his. "The world wants answers, Commander, but it also fears upheaval. We must control the narrative or risk chaos." Their debate was a microcosm of the larger global struggle. How to integrate Cradle's revelations without destabilizing societies or exploiting the technology for power. Ethical questions surfaced swiftly about genetic manipulation, cultural heritage, and the sovereignty of ancient knowledge. Meanwhile, in a vastly different setting, Dr. Nia Patel immersed herself in the cultural renaissance blossoming in the wake of the expedition. Streets once dull with routine now thrummed with festivals celebrating Cradle's forgotten art, music, and philosophies. People from disparate walks of life found common ground in honoring the ancestors who had been erased from history but now reclaimed through shared memory. It's a rebirth, Naya told a local radio host, her eyes sparkling. For the first time, humanity can see itself whole, again not fractured by myths or half-truths, but connected by a deep, evolutionary thread. In the quiet of his apartment, Julian Sato pored over the genetic data decoded from Cradle's archives. The sequences hinted at technologies that could redefine medicine, longevity, even consciousness itself. Yet, with every breakthrough came new questions. Was humanity ready to wield such power? Could the mistakes of the ancients be avoided? The nights grew long as Julian wrestled with his findings, the future hanging in balance between possibility and peril. Across the globe, these threads wove together. Scientists, politicians, artists, and ordinary citizens alike, grappling with what it meant to be human in light of the Cradle's revelations. The planet's story was no longer confined to distant ruins. It reverberated in the hearts and minds of every living soul. But as the excitement swelled, subtle undercurrents warned of challenges ahead. Political factions vied for influence, ethical dilemmas multiplied, and the Watcher's silent presence remained a haunting reminder that some secrets demanded respect. In this crucible of change, humanity stood at a crossroads, poised to embrace a new evolutionary chapter or risk repeating the shadows of the past. The resonance of the Cradle was not merely an echo from history. It was a call to action, a test of wisdom and courage. As Maya prepared for another lecture, her thoughts returned to the planet that had changed everything. "We carry their legacy," she whispered to herself, "and with it, the hope that we might finally understand who we truly are." Outside, the city lights flickered like stars, mirroring the infinite possibilities that stretched before them, an uncharted future shaped by ancient echoes, ready to be heard anew. The dawn broke softly over the horizon of the Cradle's surface, twin suns casting elongated shadows over the expedition's encampment. Dr. Lyra Miles stood at the observation platform, her gaze fixed on the shimmering light that bathed the alien landscape in hues of gold and rose. The air was cool, tinged with a scent of unfamiliar blossoms that stirred gently in the morning breeze. For a moment, the vast silence of the planet enveloped her, a quiet prelude to the monumental shifts that lay ahead. "It's beautiful," whispered Aidan Cross beside her, his voice barely rising above the wind. His eyes sparkled with a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration. "This place, it's a beginning." Alara nodded, her thoughts racing back over the months since their arrival, months marked by staggering discoveries, harrowing dangers, and the slow unraveling of truths buried in the soil of an ancient world. Cradle was no mere planet. It was the crucible where humanity's earliest ancestors had forged their existence. Now, the knowledge they carried was poised to ripple outward, altering the very fabric of human understanding. In the heart of the base, Aidan was already at work. His fingers danced across holographic interfaces, weaving together strands of genetic codential sequences embedded deep within. Cradle's ruins combined with cutting-edge human bioengineering. The laboratory hummed with energy, a chorus of machines that seemed to pulse with life itself. "The synthesis is stable," Aidan announced, eyes wide as the glowing DNA spirals responded to his commands. This could redefine what it means to be human. Yet, amidst the scientific triumph, caution lingered. Professor Kato Ren had spent hours crafting the message they would share with the world. Message not just of discovery, but of responsibility. In the makeshift auditorium, a global broadcast transmitted live to billions across Earth. Kato's voice carried the weight of history and the promise of a new dawn. "We stand today at the threshold of a profound transformation," he said, his silver-streaked hair catching the light as his gaze swept over the holographic images of Cradle's ruins and its living descendants. The echoes of our forgotten origins call us to rethink our place in the cosmos and our duty to the legacy we inherit. This is not merely an awakening of science, but of the human spirit itself. The world listened, captivated by the fusion of ancient wisdom and modern insight. Debates sparked across continents, philosophical, ethical, and political conversations ignited as humanity grappled with the implications of their newfound heritage. Some feared the unknown, wary of tampering with forces beyond comprehension. Others embraced the promise of evolution, eager to step into a future shaped by the lessons of the past. Meanwhile, Commander Naya Sang prepared for the journey home. As she piloted the shuttle through the vast silence of space, the stars stretched endlessly before her, a tapestry of light and shadow. Memories of Cradle, the enigmatic ruins, the vibrant biomes, the silent watchers flooded her mind. The weight of their discoveries settled heavily on her shoulders, tempered by a cautious optimism that humanity could rise to the challenge. "We carry more than data," Nia mused quietly, her voice lost to the hum of the engines. "We carry hope." Back on Cradle, the team gathered one last time beneath the alien skies. They spoke in hushed tones of the journey's end and the new beginning it signified. Alara raised her voice, steady and clear. "This is our dawn, not just for us, but for all who will come after. Let us be worthy of the legacy we have uncovered." The twin suns climbed higher, bathing the world in radiant light. Somewhere, deep within the planet's living memory, the echoes stirred, resonating with the promise of a future where humanity's origins and destiny intertwined. The new evolutionary chapter had begun, written not just in genes or stone, but in the hearts and minds of those brave enough to listen. As the shuttle pierced Earth's atmosphere, the horizon blazed with the colors of dawn. A new era awaited, one forged from the fusion of past and present, science and spirit, memory and hope. And the story of humanity was far from over. End of. The shuttle groaned softly as it cut through the thick atmosphere of Cradle, the planet's unfamiliar hues casting an otherworldly glow on the viewport. Below, vast stretches of emerald forest sprawled beneath towering violet-tinged mountains, their peaks obscured by swirling mists that shimmered faintly in the twin suns' fading light. Dr. Mara Voss pressed her palm against the cold glass, her breath fogging the surface momentarily before dissipating. The moment was surreal, a planet so like Earth, yet wholly alien, and now humanity's newest frontier. Captain Elias Chen sat rigidly in his pilot's chair, eyes scanning the readings flickering on his console. "Approaching designated landing zone," he announced, voice steady but carrying the weight of responsibility that came with command. Around him, the crew prepared for descent, their faces a mixture of determination, curiosity, and the unspoken fear of the unknown. As the shuttle pierced the atmosphere, the soft hum of the engines was swallowed by the vastness outside. Dr. Annika Patel tapped her tablet, running last-minute scans for atmospheric composition and signs of life. "Conditions stable," she reported. "Oxygen levels breathable. No immediate hazards detected beyond the usual planetary anomalies." Sergeant Jamal Reyes adjusted his tactical gear, eyes sharp and alert. "Keep your eyes open. We don't know what's waiting for us down there." The shuttle touched down with a gentle thud on a clearing edged by ancient stone structures, partially reclaimed by the relentless grip of nature. Vines crept along weathered walls, and moss-blanketed fractured statues whose features had been eroded by millennia. The architecture was unlike anything recorded in human history, massive monoliths carved with symbols that pulsed faintly with an ethereal light. Dr. Voss was the first to step onto the soil of Cradle, her boots sinking slightly into the soft earth. She knelt beside a stone slab, brushing centuries of dust away with reverent care. The symbols she revealed were intricate, composed of interlocking shapes and lines that defied immediate comprehension. These markings, they predate any known human civilization, she murmured, awe threading her voice. Around her, the team set to work, establishing a base camp with modular shelters and advanced scanning equipment. Captain Chen coordinated the efforts with practiced efficiency, aware that every moment was precious. Secure perimeter, he instructed Sergeant Reyes. We don't know what's out there, but we're not alone. As twilight descended, the ruins took on an almost mystical quality. Shadows stretched across the stones, and soft, unidentifiable sounds whispered through the trees. Inside the main chamber, a holographic projector flickered to life at Annika's command, casting a three-dimensional map of the ruins into the air. The team gathered around, faces illuminated by the pale light. These structures suggest a complex society, Annika explained, tracing symbols in the air with her finger. One that understood advanced technologies and perhaps bioengineering. Mara's gaze was fixed on the hologram, her mind racing with possibilities and the implications. If this civilization predates us, then everything we thought about humanity's origins could be wrong. Tensions simmered beneath the surface as the team pondered the consequences of their discovery. Some saw opportunity and enlightenment. Others, like Sergeant Reyes, saw danger lurking in the shadows of forgotten history. Night deepened, and the camp's lights cast long beams into the encroaching darkness. The planet breathed around them alive, ancient and inscrutable. As Mara looked up at Cradle's twin moons rising above the ruins, she whispered, "We have only just begun to uncover the echoes of our past." But with discovery came questions, and with questions, uncertainty. The story of humanity was about to be rewritten, and the cost was yet unknown. The expedition's first steps on Cradle marked not just a beginning, but a profound awakening. One that would challenge the very foundations of identity and history. The ruins whispered secrets, waiting to be heard. And as the team settled for their first night, a distant rumble echoed a reminder that some memories were buried for a reason. What awaited them in the shadows could change everything. Yet, even as doubts and fears crept in, hope remained. Hope that the forgotten cradle of humanity might reveal the truths long lost to time, the stories etched into stone, woven into biology, and encoded in the very fabric of the planet itself. The journey had begun, and there was no turning back.